Today, we're unpacking a seriously gripping psychological thriller called Trust No One. Imagine this. You're on a bus, just commuting home, trying to decompress from a long, stressful day. You strike up a totally innocent conversation with a sympathetic stranger, just venting your frustrations. But what if that simple act completely spirals into a web of murder and deception? Well, that is exactly the chilling scenario we are going to explore. So we really have to start by asking this terrifying question. What actually happens when a purely hypothetical law school debate morphs into a real-world murder? Meet our main character, Molly. She's a law student grinding away to become a public defender. During her commute, she's really just trying to blow off some steam about her incredibly complicated family life. But in doing so, she accidentally plots a real crime with a complete stranger named Sophie. It's honestly the ultimate cautionary tale about watching what you say. And Sophie drops this absolute bombshell of a line. We can help each other out of our nightmares, make them both disappear. She is literally proposing a classic murder swap. You take care of my problem, I take care of yours, and neither of us looks like a suspect because there's no obvious motive. Molly, probably viewing this through the lens of a theoretical exercise for her legal ethics class, just laughs it off as a harmless, dark fantasy. She has absolutely no idea how serious Sophie actually is.
Section 1. A deadly hypothetical game.
Let's look at what's actually bugging these two women, setting up this supposed perfect trade. On one hand, you've got Molly. She's dealing with her husband, Jeff's highly erratic ex-wife, Heather. And Heather isn't just fighting for custody of their daughter, Gracie. She is actively terrorizing them, sneaking around at night, and aggressively decapitating Molly's garden roses. On the other hand, Sophie claims she's trying to escape her wealthy judge father who maliciously controls her finances and, she alleges, abuses her. To a frustrated mind, it looks like a perfectly matched set of problems to solve. But, well, here is where the harsh reality of the law completely crashes their dark fantasy. Legally speaking, an accessory to murder is a person who assists in the commission of a crime but who doesn't actually participate in the crime itself. So the really crucial point here is that when Heather is found brutally strangled with a chain by a supposed transient named Lynn, Molly unwittingly finds herself legally trapped. Because she discussed this exact scenario out loud, she is instantly positioned as a potential accessory.
Moving right along to Section 2, the trap is sprung.
Sophie engineered this whole murder swap to completely maximize Molly's guilt. Step 1. On the night of the murder, Heather actually escalates things by starting a literal fire at Molly's house. Molly rightfully loses her temper, argues with Heather, and then makes a massive, fatal error. She goes to a pub alone to cool off, completely destroying her own alibi. Step 2. She returns home to her husband. Step 3. While Molly was isolated, Sophie secretly murders Heather and begins planting evidence. She perfectly exploits Molly's very public argument and that glaring lack of a solid alibi. And then Sophie tracks her down and drops the hammer. I did exactly what we planned, now it's your turn. I mean, talk about hitting you like a ton of bricks. This chilling ultimatum completely shatters Molly's world. Sophie demands that Molly fulfill her end of the bargain by killing her father, Judge Johansson. Suddenly, Molly realizes she's inextricably bound to a murderer who holds literally all the cards. To make absolutely sure Molly can't just run straight to the cops, Sophie gleefully lists out exactly how she framed her. First up, she left Molly's stolen hairband right at the crime scene. Second, she made sure that hairband was splattered with Heather's blood. Third, Sophie brazenly explains how she just slipped right into Molly's house, totally exploiting their lack of suburban security, to hide even more damning evidence. Sophie is basically asking, how on earth do you plan to prove you didn't commit a murder when all the physical evidence points directly at you? All right, Section 3, uncovering the deception.
Molly realizes she has to play detective and asks one fundamental question. Is Sophie actually telling the truth about her abusive father? Taking a massive risk, Molly breaks into Judge Johansson's home. Her initial goal is honestly just to warn him about the hit Sophie placed on his head. But instead of finding the monster Sophie described on the bus, Molly discovers a shocking twist that completely rewrites Sophie's entire motive. The judge drops an absolutely devastating bombshell. She asked her mother why she was starving. She saw her mother jump. He reveals the true source of his daughter's severe psychological trauma. He confesses that his wife, Sophie's mom, stopped her car on an overpass and committed suicide right in front of a young Sophie. The judge never abused her at all. Sophie's entire narrative of victimization and abuse was a complete 100% fabrication just to garner Molly's sympathy.
Which brings us to the ultimate jaw-dropping twist. Get this. Sophie actually dated Molly's husband, Jeff, in the past. When Jeff ended the relationship, Sophie had a total psychological breakdown and had to be hospitalized. So there were zero coincidences here. Sophie completely manufactured that entire chance meeting on the bus. She stalked Molly, learned her routine, and orchestrated this incredibly elaborate plot just to eliminate Molly and reclaim Jeff for herself. It is wild.
Section 4, the final rescue. It is a total chess match now. Molly's tactic is incredibly bold. She bluffs, claiming she actually followed through and killed the judge, offering up his location to Sophie in exchange for the planted evidence. Her goal is to lure Sophie into a public meeting on the Gold Line train, where she can't easily escape. But Sophie's counterplay? Oh, it is brutal. She escalates things by hacking Molly's phone, showing up at Molly's house, tricking Jeff into letting her babysit, and literally kidnapping little Gracie. Sophie's ultimate goal is to force Molly to completely disappear so she can seamlessly take over her life with Jeff.
So how on earth does Molly find them when her main phone is hacked? Well, first, she realizes her device is compromised and Gracie is gone. Second, and this is a brilliant payoff of an earlier detail, Molly remembers the TPS tracking bracelet she gifted Gracie. Third, she grabs a secondary device, fires up the tracking app, and frantically follows the device's nearby prompts straight to Sophie's location. It's such an incredible moment where a seemingly innocent little gift becomes the ultimate tool for survival.
And finally, Section 5, the aftermath.
Thanks to that tracking bracelet, Molly successfully intercepts Sophie and gets Gracie back. The authorities finally arrive, and they're able to piece the real story together. The police recover Sophie's red wig, which she used as a disguise, and crucially, the bloody hairband she planned to use against Molly. Sophie, seeing her grand plan entirely ruined, suffers a total breakdown and is apprehended right there on the train, fully clearing Molly's name once and for all. When the dust finally settles, it all comes down to just one special pendant. Molly gives this pendant to Gracie, which originally belonged to Gracie's biological mother, Heather. By giving this to her, Molly honors the mother the young girl lost. It really brings a profound sense of peace and closure to their fractured family, solidifying their bond moving forward. Which brings us to a massive final thought. We just watched a casual complaint to a sympathetic ear on a bus get twisted into a highly calculated frame-up for murder. After seeing how a simple commute turned into an absolute nightmare, how well do you really know the strangers you vent to? We're going to leave you with that unsettling thought to ponder the very next time you strike up a conversation with someone on public transit. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and hey, stay curious out there.